People of Ableton, I apologize for the crime that I have committed. I honestly didn't know that I committed this crime, and I sued myself. And I honestly shouldn't have, but I still apologize. Okay, boys. As you can see, I have my witness here, and I'm going to read the entire Constitution of the Ableton Empire. Constitution of the Ableton Empire, 2018. The people of the Ableton Empire, mindful of our responsibilities to improve the quality of life of all and to free individual potential, respecting our diverse cultures, recognizing the divisions of the past, aware of the dedication that the founders of this empire have given to maintain its independence, conscious of our common achievements, dedicated to strengthening solidarity and sovereignty, committed to unity, integrity, and prosperity, declaring each person's fundamental entitlement to freedom, determined to establish a harmonious and peaceful society governed by democratic values, adopt the following. Title 1. The Empire. Chapter 1. General Provisions. The Ableton Empire is a sovereign federal monarchy. The flag of the empire takes the following form. A white diagonal band rising from the lower right side corner, the resultant upper left triangle being dark blue and the resultant lower right triangle being dark green. The official languages of the empire are Abledane, English, German, and French. What is Abledane? I have no idea. The working languages of the federal government are Abledane and English. Could you please tell me what Abledane is? In each of the official languages of the empire is to be known as Imperi Abeldenek et de Commonwealth Abledane. The Abledane Empire and Commonwealth, English. Abeldanisches Kaiserreich und dessen Commonwealth, German. Le Empire Abeldanes et la Commonwealth, French. Chapter 2, Seat of the Empire. The Kingdom of Alenchka is the seat of the empire. The city of Bleston shall be the executive capital of the empire. The city of Alexton shall be the legislative capital of the empire. The city of East Halyard shall be the imperial and judicial capital of the empire. Chapter 3, Citizenship. All citizens are equally entitled to the rights and privileges of citizenship and equally subject to the duties of citizenship. The process of naturalization is provided for by law. Title 2, the Bill of Rights. Chapter 1, Universal Protection. All persons are entitled without discrimination to the protections afforded by this Constitution. All persons are equal before the law. All persons have the right to an effective remedy by competent national tribunals, which we don't have, for any violation of their rights as afforded by the Constitution or any other law. Chapter 2, Dignity. The dignity of the person is inviolable. Chapter 3, Right to Life. All persons have the right to life and physical integrity. No one may be subject to slavery or servitude, torture, cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment, or arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Chapter 4, Right to a fair trial. All persons are entitled to a fair and expedient hearing by the monarch in the determination of their rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against them. No one may be convicted of the same offense more than once. Wait, what? Okay. No one may be held liable on account of any act or omission which would not have imposed liability under national or international law at the time when it was done. No one may be compelled to provide evidence against themselves in any legal action. Wait, what? Wait, so me suing myself was illegal. So do I have to sue myself again? Wait, I'm so confused. Chapter 5, Freedom of Expression. All persons have the right to freedom of speech and to inform themselves from generally accessible sources. Freedom of reporting is guaranteed. All persons have the right to free association. All persons have the right to assemble peacefully without prior notice or permission. All persons have the right to choose and exercise their religion. The state must not act so as to restrict the free exercise of religion. Chapter 6. Right to privacy. No one may be subjected to arbitrary interference with their privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon their honor or reputation. Myself. Chapter 7. Right to property. All persons have the right to own property alone, as well as in association with others, and no one may be arbitrarily deprived of their property. Chapter 8. Right to freedom and of movement. All persons have the right to move freely between any state. Chapter 9. Right to a protected environment. All persons have the right to a protected, healthy environment. Chapter 10. Right to healthcare and housing. All persons have the right to have access to healthcare services, including reproductive healthcare and emergency medical assistance, food and water, and social security. All persons have the right to housing adequate to maintain their health and well-being. Chapter 11. Right to an education. All persons have the right to a basic education. Wait, but then where's health? Okay, whatever. Title 3. The Crown. Chapter 1. General Provisions. The monarch is the head of state and the highest representative of the empire. The powers of the federal government are vested in the monarch and are exercisable by the monarch and officers of the empire. The monarch is immune to any order of the domestic, foreign, or international court. The seat of the crown is the kingdom of Valenska. The crown is to be inherited by his exalted majesty, the exalted king of Valenska, his heirs and successors. The consort must not assume any constitutional functions, except in accordance with the provisions for regency. #RIP Sean. Chapter 2. Powers. The monarch may issue and repeal imperial decrees, which are to be the second highest form of law of the empire below this constitution. The monarch has the exclusive power to alter the line of succession, remove members of the imperial and royal family, remove any state monarch if the monarch cannot fulfill their duties. Can you turn that off? Admit or reestablish new states. Could you lower the volume? Lower the volume. We're supposed to... This is a crime. Admit or establish new states, bestow titles of nobility and grant peerage, bestow orders of chivalry. Chapter 3. Regency. Should the right for Samlung determine the monarch to be unfit to exercise his powers, the monarch must immediately appoint to the regency, with the consent of the right for Samlung, a senior member of the imperial royal family, or, if no such member is found, a federal monarch, or if the monarch fails to act in accordance with paragraph A, the right for Samlung must appoint 1 or 3 or 5 persons to the regency. To be appointed to the regency, a person must be an able-bodied citizen and achieve 15 years of age. Oh, rip. Title 4. The Executive. Chapter 1. General Provisions. The federal executive power is vested in the monarch and his imperial and royal exalted majesty's most honorable Privy Council. Oh boy. The Privy Council consists of the Reichsregierungscabinet and any other individuals appointed by the monarch. Chapter 2. The Reichsregierungscabinet. The Reichsregierungscabinet consists of the Vorsitzender, the Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden, and the ministers. It is to be chaired by the Vorsitzender, or, if the Vorsitzender is unavailable, the Stellvertreter of Vorsitzenden. The monarch may observe any meeting of the Reichsregierungscabinet. An individual must be a member of the Reichsversammlung to hold office as Vorsitzender, Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden, or a minister. Chapter 3. The Vorsitzender. The Vorsitzender is the head of government. The Vorsitzender is to be elected no less frequently than once every 6 months, and is to be formally appointed by the monarch. The monarch has the power to call an election for the Vorsitzender. Should the Reichsversammlung pass a vote of no confidence, in the Vorsitzender's government, the monarch must immediately call an election for the Vorsitzender. Should the Vorsitzender be incapacitated, the Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden is to assume office as acting Vorsitzender. Chapter 4. The Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden. Jesus, why is everything in German? It's so confusing. The Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden is the deputy to the Vorsitzender. The Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden is to be elected each time an election for the Vorsitzender is held, but is to be formally appointed by the monarch. Should the Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden be incapacitated, the monarch must appoint the member of the Reichsversammlung to serve as acting Stellvertreter des Vorsitzenden. Chapter 5. The Ministers. The ministers are to be appointed by the monarch on nomination by the Vorsitzender, but no minister may be appointed without the prior creation by a statute of corresponding ministry. The monarch may dismiss a minister on the recommendation of a Vorsitzender or Reichsversammlung sua sponte. What is sua sponte?
Sua sponte. You sued yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know that.
Sua sponte.
Title
Look
5.
at Mad Hatter.
Title 5. The Legislature. Chapter 1. General Provisions. The legislative power of the Empire is exercised by the Reichsversammlung. The Reichsversammlung is also to serve as the legislature of any state without a body exercising its legislative power. Unless the Reichsversammlung provides otherwise, the presence of 5 voting members constitutes a quorum to do business. The Everikarik is to have a seat in the Reichsversammlung. He is to be regarded as an ordinary member. The monarch at any point may appoint an individual to hold office as a member of the Reichsversammlung to represent the monarch's interests. Chapter 2. Elections. General Provisions. The Reichsversammlung is to consist of members elected in one nationwide constituency according to the appropriate method of proportional representation. The Reichsversammlung is to be elected no less frequently than once every 6 months. The monarch has the power to issue a writ of general election to the Reichsversammlung. The monarch is to specify the number of electable seats. The monarch may issue a writ of by-election at any time. The monarch is to specify the number of... Wait, what? Yeah, the monarch is to specify the number of electable seats. The monarch must dissolve the Reichsversammlung no later than 7 days prior to an election. The Reichsversammlung must meet again no later than 15 days after the end of an election. Should a national emergency arrive, the election may be postponed up to 3 months. If such emergency arises while the Reichsversammlung is dissolved, the monarch may recall the Reichsversammlung until the next election is held. Chapter 3. Qualifications, disqualifications. To hold office as a member of the Reichsversammlung, an individual must have achieved 14 years of age, must belong to a federal political party, and an individual is disqualified from serving as a member of the Reichsversammlung if they have been convicted of an offense by a domestic court. They are an undischarged, bankrupt, or insolvent. Jeez. Legal words. They are determined by a federal court to be incapable of holding office as a member of the Reichsversammlung. The monarch may by decree allow an individual disqualified under Section 2 to serve as a member of the Reichsversammlung. If a member of the Reichsversammlung becomes subject to any of the disqualifications included in Article 2, the monarch may dismiss them from such office. Chapter 4. Resignations by elections. The member may resign their office at any time by a notice to the monarch. The party of said member, which they were elected from, shall fill the vacant seat with a member coming from the same party no more than 2 weeks after the tender of resignation. Failure to fill the seat shall trigger a by-election, which the monarch must call on a specific date. Chapter 5. Leader of the Opposition. Following a general election, the monarch must appoint a member as leader of the opposition. That member must be the monarch determines best able to command an opposition to his imperial and royal exalted majesty's government. If, in the judgment of the monarch, the leader of the opposition is no longer able to command an opposition to his imperial and royal exalted majesty's government, the monarch must revoke the appointment of the leader of the opposition. The leader of the opposition may resign by notice to the monarch. The office of the leader of the opposition becomes vacant if the leader of the opposition ceases to be a member of the Reichsversammlung, otherwise than by reason of the dissolution of the Reichsversammlung. Chapter 6. Powers. The Reichsversammlung has the exclusive power to make laws with respect to trade and commerce. Trade and commerce, taxation, bounties on the production of or exports of goods, but so that such bounties shall be uniform throughout the empire. Borrowing money on the credit of the empire, the naval and military defense of the empire of the federal states, and the control of the forces to execute and maintain the laws of the empire. Census and statistics, currency, coinage, and legal tender, bills of exchange and promissory notes, bankruptcy and insolvency, copyrights, patents of inventions and designs and trademarks, naturalization and aliens, corporations, the federal judicial process, immigration and emigration, the relations of the empire with other nations, conciliation and arbitration for the prevention and settlement of industrial disputes extending beyond the limits of any one state, matters referred to the Reichsversammlung as by the legislatures of any state, but so that the law extends only to states by whose legislatures of the matters referred, or which afterwards adopts the law. Matters incidental to the execution of any power vested by this Constitution in the executive legislature, or judiciary. Chapter 7. Legislation. No bill may take effect until imperial assent has been granted by the monarch. In each bill presented to the monarch for assent, the clause of enactment shall be as follows. Being it enacted by the emperor's... Please stop. The emperor's most imperial and royal excellent majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the people of the empire and the members of the Reichsversammlung in this present Reichsversammlung assembled, and by the authority of the same as follows. In every money bill, the words of the enactment shall be as follows. We, your imperial and royal exalted majesty's most humble servants, do present this law, which shall constitute the proper allocation of our monies, and therefore by our approval allow the members of the Reichsversammlung in this present Reichsversammlung assembled to present this law to his imperial and royal exalted majesty in order to grant his most humble assent. Title 6. The Judiciary. The judicial power of the empire is exercised by the monarch. He is the final decision maker for all cases and appeals. The monarch shall apply the laws of the empire impartially and fairly. The monarch may reverse the decisions of any cases he has decided beforehand. There shall be an advisor to the monarch, who shall be responsible for guiding and advising the monarch in judicial matters. Literally everything is repealed. What is happening? The founders. The following individuals are designated as the founders of the empire. His Imperial and Royal Highness the Ervekisarik Stephen, her Imperial and Royal Highness, just assume someone's gender, the Grand Princess Rachel, and His Imperial and Royal Highness Grand Prince Donald.
Do you get sued for that too?
Article 1 may not be altered by any
sued for that too.
Any amendment to this Constitution.
He gets sued for that.
Chapter 2. Powers. The founders have absolute power, not subject to this Constitution, except for the following article. The power under Article 1 may only be exercised by decree, repealed, and also repealed. Title 8. The States. Chapter 1. The State Law, Sovereignty, Prohibition of Discrimination. State law is inferior to federal law. The states are fundamentally sovereign. This sovereignty may be restricted only within the bounds of this Constitution. A state's government retains all powers of government, unless otherwise provided for by this Constitution. But the federal government may make any law and exercise any power within a state, unless doing so would cause the federal government to come into a conflict with the state's government. The federal government may not exercise any power in a way that would cause a state to be unfairly discriminated against. The monarch may admit or establish a crown dependency, or in the case of existing states, designate a state as a crown dependency. A crown dependency is to be autonomous, with the exception of matters relating to defense and foreign relations. Chapter 3, Secession. In order to secede, a state must inform the monarch of its intention to secede. The monarch must then inform the founders and pass a decree declaring the secession of the state. A state may only act under Article 1 pursuant to a statewide referendum in which more than 2/3 of eligible voters vote in favor of secession. A majority turnout is required for the referendum to be valid. A state may not secede until 6 months after it was admitted to the empire or established, whichever is applicable. Title 9. Final provisions. Please stop. Chapter 1. Limitations on government power. No bill of attainder or ex post facto law may be enacted by either the federal or state government. No law, decision, or act of a federal or state republic authority may be arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, irrational, improper, malicious, or disproportionate. No law, decision, or act of a federal or state republic authority, state public authority, may respect or restrict the free exercise of religion. God bless that. Chapter 2, Dissolution, etc. The empire must not be dissolved, annexed, partitioned without the agreement of all three founders or their heirs. Chapter 3, Amendment. This constitution may be amended by 2/3 vote of the entire Rijksversameling, with the consent of the monarch and Ervikitakijarik. Chapter 4, Adoption of the new constitution. In the event that the Rijksversameling cannot convene, the monarch may unilaterally enact a new constitution. Chapter 5, Founding States. The founding states are the Kingdom of Valenska, the Kingdom of Morganic, the Kingdom of Demorelia, the Grand Duchy of Alexander, and the Grand Duchy of Rye. Chapter 6, Commencement. This constitution enters force by the decree of His Imperial and Royal Exalted Majesty. On the commencement of this constitution, all existing legislation is repealed, but all treaties and international agreements to which Abelden is a party remain part of Abelden law. Sweeties!
Did you finish?
16 pages of words. It's too many words.